there is a profile of senior risk analyst, there is a profile of risk manager also, there is a profile of compliance and risk manager also. So this risk assessment which you are about to see will actually be useful in your entire cybersecurity career for 10 years from now, right? It would stay with you, it would not go away, right? Even if you go to a position of a CISO, even if you go to a position of a let's say security head, or any bigger roles in your career, still risk management, risk assessment will definitely be something that you will look forward to. Okay, so watch this very carefully, and any doubts always feel free to ask, right? So first thing that we need to understand is, we need to understand how are the impact ratings calculated for any organization, and how are the probability ratings calculated for any organization. Now, why do we need these ratings? Can somebody tell me why do we need impact and probability for assessing what?
Risk.
Very good. For assessing risk, we need probability and impact ratings. Now, let's understand what is the value of one denote and what is the value of five denotes. So, one means marginal, very less, right? Very less impact. That means if we talk about customer impact, it would be no loss of customer. There is no effect at all. If we talk about in terms of financial impact, there is very little or none impact. Okay. If we talk about in terms of health and safety, then again very small additional risk is there. And if we talk about in case of reputational impact, again it is negligible. And if we talk about legal impact, again there is no implication. So when you are doing it in your organization, you do not have to assess all these five types of impact. Okay, depending upon your environment, depending upon your condition, you need to understand which of the impact plays a major role. In case of a financial firm, in case of a banking firm, financial impact will come into play, customer impact will come into play. In case of a healthcare unit, health and safety will come into play, reputational impact will come into play. Again, for a bank, you will have legal impact also. So depending upon the industry that you are dealing with, you need to assess the impact rating accordingly. Okay, this is a very important tip I am giving you. Do not need to have all these five in every scenario. Some scenarios might have five also, but these are all the major categories. Okay, you might have to choose between them sometimes. Okay, so be cautious on that. Then after marginal you have significant, and again these values can also be in terms of monetary values also. For example, when we are talking about financial impact, this could be in terms of dollars also, right? So marginal could be a few $100, significant could be a few $1,000. Again, depending upon the company's risk appetite and company's turnover, these values could be monetary as well. Okay, so you can do that as well. Okay. Similarly, reputational impact again could be monetary as well for some companies, because they are completely outsourced. So it will directly hit them in terms of reputational impact. They will directly lose their customers, right? So we need to be very conscious here defining the impact. Okay. And as per the complete scenario of things, then we need to give this rating. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, we are not checking operational effect. That is related to the.
Definitely we can. We can add again another category called operational impact here, right? We can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. See, depending upon the circumstances, depending upon the case by case business industry where you are performing this risk assessment, these impacts will change. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't think that these five categories you need to mug up and they will always be the same. No. You try to understand the concept from where we are coming from. Impact will actually rise from this area to this area. Okay? It will increase. This is one thing we need to understand and mindful about. And again, once you actually design this matrix, who will actually review this and approve this? Because again, this has to be reviewed, right? Because based upon this only your risk ratings will be coming up. So definitely you need to get this reviewed from senior management again, because they might have a slightly different view on your understanding, right? So again, this is very important. Okay. Now I'll ask a question so that I get whether you are able to understand the impact side of things or not. Let's say there is a call center, and in the call center there has been a ransomware attack. Okay. Now raise your hands and tell me what would be the impact.
Love, can you repeat the question again, please?
Yeah, there's a call center. Okay. And in the call center there has been a ransomware attack. Okay. Now I want you to assess the impact. There were 100 employees in that call center, so a small call center, but now attacked by a ransomware. Now, what would be the impact in this case, and what all categories will actually come into play? Only
So
raise your hands.
reputation
Only raise your
impact.
hands. Only raise your hands. Again, the same people are raising hands. Nobody knew. Come on, anybody else should try, right? You also are part of the group. Kavita, you want to try?
No idea.
Shivangi? Hmm. Okay. Go for it. Kalpesh, go for it.
I would say customer impact, then if financial impact and reputation impact.
Okay. Okay. But again, depending upon the process, if the process is having some sensitive data, it would be legal also, right?
Yeah. And if it is like a call center that is assisting like the hospitals,
Right.
providing them the assistance, then there's
Right.
like a health and safety impact is also going to be a part of it.
Right. Good. 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 Okay. Another scenario. In this case, you have a software development company hit by a phishing attack. Again, raise your hands. Software development company, 500 employees hit by a phishing attack. What would be the impact?
Can I repeat the question again, please?
Yeah, there's a software development company creating softwares, right? And hit by a phishing attack. You understand phishing attack, Matthew?
Yes. Where it
Yes.
is.
Yes. So in this case, what would be the impact? That is the question. Go for it, Shivangi.
Yeah, then there will be a firstly the customer impact on that, and secondly the financial impact will be there because it is a software company, so it will impact financially, and the third one is legal and reputation impact also is there.
Okay. Everybody agrees with what Shivangi is saying, or any conflicts there?
With respect to the customer impact, the
Yeah.
phishing, how is that going to impact? Because the phishing is about seeking some information. Yes, if it is particular customer related software which the company is generating, say like the company is developing a software for some product for a reputed company, then it can be a customer impact. Otherwise, how I don't think so.
But
In
the
always case, it will
application
be a customer.
but in case the application is using by the end user, and the data which the end user is already having in that application, if the phishing will happen, then the user data will be
No, no.
compromised.
Look,
No, no.
it is a software development company. Once the product has been delivered to it, I don't think so. The software development company has anything to do with the customer data, because ultimately the company which is using the software will be responsible for the customer data and not the software development company.
But I believe there is a continuous improvement is there, so there will be customer impact will be there.
It will be there provided the software or the product is about to be launched, like maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, right?
Customer
And it's
impact
like
can be
pure
in that
question.
case
It
where
will
the
be there.
customer is having some competitive edge by launching this software, and some competitors of that customer is like able to know that some information about that, what are the features that the particular software is going to have. In that case, the customer might have that impact.
But customer is
Otherwise,
not the direct hit. He's right. Customer is not the direct hit over here. Okay.
So I have a query, like,
Yeah.
customers' trust would be under reputational impact or
Yes, that we are
okay,
already considering in a reputation, right?
okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
Sir,
yeah, go for it.
sir, in this case, we are assuming the company is developing a software for another company. Let's say it
Yes.
is an in-house it is a software development company, but they are
Yes.
also selling the product. Okay,
Yes.
that too can be a software development company, right, sir? In that case, they would have customer data in their hands because
Uh,
there would be maintenance and storage and things like that, right, sir?
yeah, Rahul, but I clearly mentioned it's a software development company, right? In that case, I would have mentioned it's a sales process also there, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'll slightly change the question. So now I'll go back to my previous scenario of the ransomware attack. Okay. For the call center, I want hands to help me understand what would be the impact in that case. 100 employees, call center, ransomware attack. What would be the impact in terms of rating? 1 to 5. Raise your hands.
could you just repeat the question, sir?
Yeah, the first scenario, Vinesh, I'm going back. The first scenario was a call center, 100 employees attacked by ransomware attack. This was the first scenario. So now in that scenario, I want to understand what would be the impact from 1 to 5. 1 being lowest, 5 being highest. Matthew, go for it.
Sorry, I was talking, not knowing that I mute my speaker. I'll go for 5 because it have impact on the customers.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. I got you. I got you. Going with
Okay.
5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody wants to disagree with Matthew? Because 5 is very high. 5 means it's basically complete down.
It again
I would
depends
go
on
with
the
4.
Sorry, come again.
I would go with 4.
Okay. Why?
It has to be
Because if it is a ransomware attack, so they will be probably taking data hostage, right, sir?
Right.
So the company isn't down, but the main business area of for a call center is crippled, right, sir?
Okay.
Because their data has been held hostage here.
Very good. But you're still able to take calls, right? Which is the most important part.
Yes.
Very good, Rahul. Now, anybody would like to challenge Rahul?
I had
Yes.
one question.
One by one, one
Uh,
by one. Yeah.
so won't you suspend the operations when you're like when you are under ransomware attack with
Let's
the
let's
like
be realistic.
assumption that
Let's be realistic. For a business, 100 employees are working. Definitely, it will disrupt the operations. But would you stop responding to the customers? Let's be realistic. Because for some companies, customer care is the bread and butter. Yes or no?
Mm.
yeah, that's true.
Right. So
but
think
again, sir,
accordingly. Yeah.
but sir, again,
Yeah.
merely just attending the customer is not ultimately you have to like deliver or address their queries. If they are asking about some say like kindly specify the product specification, and
Yes, Vinesh. That's
if
what.
that
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree with your point. So, what do you say? 4 or 5?
uh, somewhere for, because I'm not sure whether there is an health and safety impact, so I'm avoiding that. So considering somewhere 3 or 4 would be a better impact
Okay.
rating.
so,
Okay.
Okay,
so wouldn't
love,
it be like
love.
specific?
Yeah.
I have small questions.
Yeah.
It is not the call center is outbound or inbound, so that I
Uh,
can.
yeah. Very good question. This is what I wanted to hear. Actually, somebody actually probing in. So, this is an inbound call center. People are calling in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that, if it is inbound call center, then most probably the data will not be accessible by the callers, and it will impact the customer. as well as the financial, because the caller will not be able to trace those customers who is calling and they are genuine or not. So customer impact is there because
Okay, what
all
do
the,
you say? What do you say? Three or four
so
or five?
it could be four, I believe.
Okay. Anybody else?
I would say OS also four, because if we have multiple site, even we can reroute these calls to a different site.
Very
Suppose
good.
we have some users in other side.
Very good. Yes.
Second point, even we can play a message stating that okay, can you just go to this website, and if suppose the website is active, we can just announce, hey, we are stating okay, we have some difficulties, please uh, do a alternative way of doing it. Suppose if they can log into their specific area and they can collect the information, something like
Very good, Ramshir. Excellent. Yes. Good.
Also, sir,
But
won't data redundancy policy play a role here?
Okay. In terms of what, Rahul? Go on.
Uh, so, suppose the data is being held hostage,
Okay.
but there are multiple sets of the same data, hence
Yes.
redundancy.
Yes. 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 We can put up a backup online. Yeah, you are
Yes,
right.
and
You
that
are right.
can keep the operations running
Yes.
while the data
Yes.
is being recovered, or it is something is done about the ransomware.
Yes. So in that case, which rating would you give, Rahul? Three or four?
That would lower the impact to 3. Again, these are very gray situations, so it always will be in a curve, right, sir? So
Right. Right.
somewhere between 3 and 4, depending on what policies they have placed.
Okay. Okay. Good. Kalpesh, you wanted to add something. Go on.
Yeah. So look, what I wanted to say was like, let's say if the company doesn't have any backup data and it
Mm-hmm.
has only the data and the entire data, okay, like has been under the ransomware attack.
Okay.
Now, when the caller calls in, the
Yes.
I mean, like the agent is unable to trace. I mean, like unable to what you call like pull out any information of the customer who has called in, right? Because they
Yes.
don't have access to
Database
the
is
data.
affected. Right. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
in
Yeah.
that case, wouldn't the customer impact be five? Because you have a caller on the
Mm-hmm.
call, but you
Mm-hmm.
have no idea who the person is. You
Mm-hmm.
have no idea what the data is, and like what you're going to assist with.
Yeah.
Maybe with your some knowledge, like maybe you are like since you have like you must be working from like maybe a year or two. You have some knowledge and you can provide the information. But at times you need to access the like, resources. At least you need to know the name of the person who has called in, right? And if
Right.
that is not accessible, then you have a huge customer impact.
Yeah. Fair enough. So you want to say five?
Yeah, I would go file like provided this is the scenario where they don't have
Okay.
any backup of the data.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Fair
again,
enough.
if they have backup of the data, then why are they
Mm.
worried? Because they have the data in their hand, right? It's just like another set of data which has been under the ransomware attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Fair
you have
enough.
to be very, you
Fair
have to be
enough.
very, yeah.
So yeah, so in this case, let's be clear on one thing. Definitely, every company would have backups, right? That's for sure. Like Rahul mentioned. Now it depends upon the backup policy and backup strategy. How frequently are these backups being taken? What is the RTO? What is the RPO? All these factors will now come into play. And again, depending upon that, we can decide the impact rating. But yeah, I got your point.
So
Anybody else? Yeah,
yeah, so
Surinder?
impacted that all the 100 system, or some
All
some of the
100.
system only, or
All
they have the
100.
network segregation over there.
All 100.
All the 100 system
Yeah,
in
yeah.
single VLAN,
Ransomware. Yeah,
right?
single
In the
villain.
single VLAN.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be 3 to 4 between there, 3.5 we can say that, because they have the backup and all the things we will consider.
Right, right, right. So, did you all observe one thing? We started from five. Did anybody see that? And now suddenly we are actually lowering down the values depending upon our justifications. So, this is how it
Yes,
will be in the reality also. Initially, because somebody yesterday mentioned this is all subjective exercise. That's why I wanted to conduct this exercise so that you understand in reality also your mind will initially ask you to give it a higher rating, but be mindful somebody like me would be on the management side of things, which will definitely those people will ask you, okay, what is the rating, why is this rating so high? So you need to be like Kalpesh was very much clear on what is the reason for his rating. The database is affected, nothing is, they are not able to pull up anything. If you are certain on this rating, if you are sure about the business certification, definitely go for it. Otherwise, be very mindful of these ratings. Okay, Don't play with them. Okay, this is very critical because this is now business that you are dealing with, right? And this is the most crucial part of the risk assessment process. After this, everybody can work on this, but this is the main part. Then nobody discusses this part. Okay, so be mindful of what rating you are giving. It's very important.
So one
So
thing just
after
need to,
this discussion, I got one like confusion here now. In my mind, I had a point to give 5 ratings for this.
Yes,
Because as per the ransomware attack, for basically it is a completely disruption to the business, and the
yes,
entire hundred of the customers they cannot able to access any of the data because it has impacted to the server, and they have to take the immediate action for it to recover all of this server, everything, configuration, firewall. So based on this customer impact, financial impact, it again matter of the cost impact again for the reputation. So based upon these circumstances, I would like to give 5 ratings for this.
yeah, fair enough. It's okay. Since you are clear on your objective side of things, right? That's what I'm saying. You are clear on that, right? If somebody
Okay.
asks you tomorrow, why have you given Pooja the rating of 5, you can justify all these 4 5 pointers, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you need to be ready with these thoughts. That's what I'm saying. You need to be prepared. Don't leave these ratings like 5 or 4 or 3. Just thinking, okay, nobody will. They definitely see these ratings, okay, and they come back to you. That's what I'm trying to say. In reality, there will be comments, there will be queries on these ratings, okay. So you need to be prepared for that. That is the
so,
whole point of this exercise. Yeah,
so one doubt.
See, love.
yeah.
Yes,
Go
Yeah,
for
please,
it.
go
you
Yes,
ahead.
can.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go for it.
See, to create such a table, we should have a complete understanding of the organization, right?
Yes,
Like, yeah. So from where now to refer back to anything, where we will, who will lead us, like the CISO or
yes.
when
You are right.
creating a risk, yeah,
Yes, like I
how we
mentioned
can build.
yesterday. Yeah, yeah, that's what very good question. Yes, sir. Yes, like I mentioned yesterday, there will be risk owner with you along with this in process. You'll have CISO also, and you somehow or the other you'll have a support of the asset owner as well, who is somebody who is always seasoned. I have seen from experience. So these 2 3 people will definitely guide you in these ratings. Like whatever you will. For example, let's say you put 5, so definitely they'll stop you. If like Rahul mentioned, if there's an active backup scenario, they'll definitely stop you from putting 5. They'll say that don't worry about ransomware, we are completely covered. Yes, sir. So in those terms you are covered in that aspect, but you need to be very mindful about these ratings. That's what my point is, right?
See, risk owner means who is the risk owner exactly? Is the
Department
asset
head.
owner or
Department head.
department? Okay,
Yes.
okay, good.
But sir, let's take a scenario like the infrastructure. Let's say a server, and the server is having a data of sales department.
Okay.
So if the server goes down due to some like component failure, so in
Hmm.
that case, who will be the risk owner? The sales department head or the infrastructure head?
What data is there in the server?
Something related to the sales,
Sales.
because either we have to involve both the parties, or there will be a single
It will
party
be
for the
sales,
risk
right?
owner.
Sales always.
It will be
Always see the
sales.
data. Yeah, always see the data. Because see, as an IT would be hosting all the servers for all the departments. Yes or no?
Yes, yes, yes.
So again, depending upon the data, what you are dealing with will be the risk owner in this case, because that is the data which is critical. For example, let's say a financial ERP database is there, right? And ERP system is completely down. Now in this case, who will be the risk owner? Not the IT head, because IT had nothing to do with ERP. The CFO will come into play now.
Sir, IT is called as data custodians or what?
They
There is
are
some term like
basically
that.
asset owners, because they are
Asset owners.
responsible for these assets. Yes, they are called asset owners.
But if
Got it.
device is down, but device server itself is down, then in
Hmm.
that case, IT will be the responsible.
Yes, always asset owners will be IT only. That's what I'm saying, right? You have two different terminologies here. One is asset
Yes.
owner, somebody who is maintaining that asset, somebody who is managing that asset. That is responsibility of who? IT only, right?
Yes.
But now
Right.
another aspect is risk owner. Risk owner depends upon what type of data is there. Then what would be the impact if that data is not available? Who will be then impacted? In that case, risk owner will come. Okay. Good.
Okay, so just one more doubt. With
Yeah.
respect to the risk rating, do we have to create a separate risk rating for the what do you call it? I'm forgetting the term. For the dollar values and the reputation based separate, like
No,
for
no, no,
quantitative and qualitative
no, no, no.
separately.
We'll do it together this time. We'll only go for qualitative.
S- Sir, how's gonna be IT involved in this risk rating competition? Like as you mentioned, the data,
Asset
who's the
owner.
owner?
Asset owner. IT is managing all the assets, right? All the servers are
Right,
belonging to who?
IT that's owned by
Right?
IT, right?
So let's
Mhm.
say, that server is basically 10 years old, and there is no computation capacity in that server. Who will inform the risk owner?
Okay,
Yeah, IT always has to play a part in this. Okay,
Is
because
this the
that itself
biggest?
is a risk, right?
so be it any part, IT would be there, right? If you're
In
talking
most
about.
of the cases, there would be scenarios where they won't be responsible, but yes, in most of the cases,
But yeah, as long as there is data, there is definitely IT.
yes,
IT,
as
right?
long as you have data, unless it is something physical and all, otherwise IT.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is this the biggest document with respect to the ISO 27000 standard that
this is
has
the
to be?
core actually, risk management thing, because everything revolves around this thing. And in
No,
the yeah, go
just
for it.
imagining like if there are thousand assets and each assets like we have mapped some say 100 or 50 threats, then this document is going to be a really big one.
Yes, it happens. It's very big document. Some companies would have 500 risks, some companies would have 1,000 risks. It happens. But then we'll discuss how to prioritize them, right? That's the thing. Because again, you can't deal with each and everything, right? You have a limited sufficient bandwidth, limited resources. So we'll come to that, finish. Okay. Any questions till now for impact
Um,
side of things? Yeah.
So during the audit, we have found from the HR team or admin team, they have not found any of the risk. But in the organization, we have been like considered that the risk register has to be maintained. If there is no risk, but still they have to list out what all the expected risk will be. So is it mandatory to mention the risk, even though there is no risk?
No, if there is no risk, why do you want to create risk? That is the issue, right?
uh, uh, if we know that is these are the expected like risk, these are the probability, so should we have to maintain in that risk register?
Definitely. See, for example, in case of HR, like you mentioned, there would be payroll services, right? Which HR would be hosting. So this could be either hosted in-house. They might be dealing with this in-house, or they might be outsourced to a third party. Again, these payroll services is having critical data, right? So depending upon this, definitely some sort of the other risk would always be there. Okay. So it will not be a scenario where there will be no risk. Like, it's hard to digest for me also.
Okay.
In the risk-based audit, we follow the same, right? First, we calculate the risk on the basis of assumption.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with respect to the impact value and the various factors which we have taken into consideration, like the customer impact, financial impact, so is the impact value the sum of all those factors or
The
the
average. The average.
multiplication of all those factors,
The
right?
average.
The average.
Yes, we'll take the average of all this. We'll try to understand where is the major impact, and accordingly we'll make the decision, right? Good. So now this was the easier part, guys, which I told you. Now we'll come to the difficult part. Okay, we got the understanding about impact values. Now let's come to probability value. Okay. Now tell me, how will you define probability of something? Like, let's say impact. Actually, we had something to actually refer to, but how would you define probability of something happening? For example, there is a healthcare unit, operating in India, and has 5,000 employees, having a lot of critical health information as because the healthcare organization. Now, tell me the probability of phishing attack in this unit. How would you calculate that?
By some historical data or by comparing with the similar companies which are doing the business in the same field, by comparing their data, like
Okay, what else?
So we
So
need to
love,
think
you're
about.
asking the likelihood of phishing attack happening.
Yes, now I'm coming to the likelihood part of thing, right? We got the impact side. Now I'm looking at probability side of things. How would you assess the probability?
I would
Uh,
say three.
Based on the criticality of the data.
Okay, and what else?
So the probability will be 5, sir, because it is very likely to happen. We receive mails from various sources, and it is just a matter of clicking and then clicking that link, and then your system is hacked.
That's
Okay,
that's number three,
And
right?
I'll go for the probability of having a lot of workers. Definitely, there might be something possible to happen. So I'll go for 5 as well,
okay,
due to the
Matthew.
number for yeah.
Okay, Ravindra, what do you want to go with?
Love
Yeah, for five, that healthcare is the critical data, right? They're all the related to the patients and all the things. They have the medical details and all the things for the all the patient as well as their employee. So
But
we'll go.
but this but this side of things which you are considering right now, data and impact, wouldn't this come on impact side of things? I am talking about probability.
Hmm.
Love,
probability
I
is the
would go
rate
with
of
three.
occurrence. People are
Yes,
just talking about the criticality. That has to be
yes,
considered in the impact.
yes. My question is regarding probability now.
So I will go with uh, low likelihood because of nature of work. The hospital, I mean, they don't uh, continuously works on that email part. At least the phishing attack will happen on basically a lot of emails sent, and then so maybe I think they don't deal much. I mean, like IT, uh, but they do have that reports and all. But the likelihood of getting or click that phishing links might be low likelihood.
Okay, okay,
So low, I'll go. So I would give low likelihood, that is number two, provided
okay.
the staff is trained on not to click on any suspicious link, because under criteria it says there is a possibility that it could happen, but it
Mm-hmm.
probably won't. It won't, provided the staff is aware that they should not click any suspicious link. In that, I would go with low likelihood with these two. If not, then I would go with number three, that is likely, because if the staff is not trained, then there is a high possibility that they will click on some suspicious link and that will lead to the phishing attack, again leading to the customer's data at vulnerability. So, yeah, either
Okay,
two
okay.
or three.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
so love. I
Yeah.
can I can calculate according to the previous history of this
History of what, Asit?
history of the phishing attack. How many phishing attack we observed in the previous history? So because
Previous history of this hospital?
yes,
Okay,
because
okay,
it depends whether the users are trained or not.
okay,
Because
okay,
this is all about the user activity. If user clicks on any phishing mail, then it would be impacted. So based on
okay,
that, how they are, the awareness issue is there or not, that needs to be observed first. So
okay,
based on that, I can consider is in between 3 and 4, might be three
okay,
or four.
okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Love for me, it will be 3 rating
Why,
because
Shivangi?
the data is so big, so there will be a chances that the risk will be there for that.
Okay,
And how much you train people, but still there are some people who will do these clicking the link or something like that, uh, as per my knowledge. So I will be
Okay.
good for 3.
Okay.
I would like to rate it as a 4, based on my knowledge. Like, it has to again consider how big the hospital is and what kind of security best practices they are following.
Okay.
And also if their employees are training on regular basis, ongoing employers or new employees are training on the best practices. So if other things are on place, then it will be very low likelihood. If not, then I'll be considered as a high likelihood for getting phishing attack.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Anybody else?
So I'll also go with two by considering a situation that, okay, not only giving the awareness, normally there would be a tool where we can generate the phishing, test phishing attacks, and I'll just try to get result from that. If it's really less the results, so I'll go with option two, according to the historical data.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'll tell you in reality how it happens and how we actually do it. Okay. Somebody in the beginning, I think Vinesh was there. He clearly mentioned about industry trends, right? What is happening in the other hospital sectors of similar industry? What is happening in the same industry side of things, right? This is one thing that we need to consider when we consider probability of things happening. This is the first thing that you should consider. After that, you will consider the historical data, like I think Isaac mentioned. You need to look for whether it has happened, how much frequently is it happened in that same organization, and thirdly, you need to consider the type of data, what all data is involved. These three things will actually help you decide the probability ratings. First and foremost would always be the what type of industry are we dealing with. For example, if there's a banking industry, you can definitely search on net, you will get the statistics, how much frequency of ransomware or phishing or whatever type of attack is there, right? You'll clearly get that data. So depending upon that, you make your assumptions, and that's how you need to justify them also, because again there will be questions, how the probability is 5, how the probability is 1. You need to be ready with your responses, right? Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. So now a very important thing comes up, which is acceptable risk criteria. Now, what is acceptable risk criteria? Anybody?
So risk is there, but there is no impact. So in that time, we can accept the risk
How much the company's risk tolerance is there? This is acceptable. Yeah.
based on the risk tolerance.
Hmm. So, what do you say? It should be high or low?
It has to be low risk acceptable. Depends on the company's like
Yeah.
how good the company is there. So depends on the company. The rating may go up and down.
Acceptable risk should be as low as possible.
Okay.
If the
Okay.
impact is very low, then we can accept this risk.
Okay.
It also
It's
depend
not.
upon the risk appetite of the company that
Very good. Who was this?
me.
Shivangi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shivangi, this is the right answer. It depends upon the risk appetite of the company. How much risk as a company is willing to take.
And love, one thing I want to add, how
Mhm.
much financial loss they can handle. That is
Yeah,
also.
that's what risk appetite, right? How much risk
Yes.
are they willing to take? Yeah.
Yes.
Risk can be now in terms of reputational loss, also financial loss, also. It could be
Yes.
then anything, right?
Yes. Yes.
Good. Good. Now we'll see one more thing, which is risk rating versus residual risk rating. What is residual risk? Anybody?
The risk which is left after implementing the controls.
Very good. That we call residual risk. Okay. And can anybody understand this heat map? How this has been created? Is this based upon this acceptable risk criteria?
Can you give one example of residual risk?
Residual risk. Yeah, sure. We'll see that. Basically, after this, we'll see residual risk only. Okay. After this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So coming back to the heat matrix, how is this heat matrix made? Anybody? Is it based on this risk criteria of five, or how?
It's like multiplication, right? Like probability into impact.
Yeah, but how have you defined these low, moderate, high? That's what I'm asking.
I think it's criteria that
Very good. Yes, it's based upon the criteria, because since the acceptable criteria is five, that means anything less than five, the management is ready to accept.
low.
It's their actually their risk appetite. They are happy to go till here, but above this they're not happy. So now your scale will increase. It will firstly go to moderate side of things, then it will go to higher side of things. Okay. Now you need to design this accordingly. Anything less than five is basically acceptable. Anything above five is now not acceptable. This is how it is. And when I said, if you remember, I mentioned there are 1,000 risks in an organization. Which are the risks that you will be dealing with first? These will be the ones, and not all will be in high category. You need to understand that. That's why I actually was very conscious when I told you about these ratings, because again, depending upon these ratings only, this rating will come, right? So you need to be very conscious here. Are we good till here? Because this is important.
So how's the heat map created? Can you like
Simple multiplication. Yeah, 1 into 1, 2 is to 1, 2, 2 twos are 4. Simple.
so okay, we have taken the probability.
We are just here, we
There's
are
a,
taking the impact, here we are taking the probability and just multiplying here. That's it.
the formula is on the
Oh,
top. There's a formula on the top,
Yeah.
sum of impact value into
impact.
probability value.
Oh,
Love, one
Yeah.
question. Is the
Yeah.
acceptance criteria always five standard? Like,
No,
is this the
no, 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 no,
industry
no,
standard
no,
or
no,
no?
no, no, no. That's what I said,
No?
right? It depends upon industries. It depends upon company to company. It will
Oh,
change,
so
right?
you gave five as an example, like as a
Yeah, yeah,
reference.
yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay,
When I will give you work to do, I'll change it. Don't worry.
okay.
Otherwise, everyone will copy each other. I know that. No, this is the variable I'll put. Yeah. Okay. So are we good till here? Everybody? Till this, are we good? Because this is the main part. If you are able to understand this, rest is cake. Okay. This
So
this
it
I will
has
discuss. This I will
uh,
discuss later. Not now. Yeah. Go for it.
so there are four sections, right? First one is probability. Can you go up?
Yeah. First one is
Probability,
impact.
impact, then probability,
Probability.
and then
Yeah. Heat map.
the
Then
heat
you have
map,
acceptable risk. Yeah.
and the final value. Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah. Don't take screenshots, huh?
you.
Okay. Good.
So the if you
So
get the
yeah.
like if you have the data for impact and for probability, like you can get
Mhm.
the final rating, right? Because you just have to
Yes.
multiply.
Yes, it's just a multiplication, right? So now we'll come back to this sheet. Now we'll take some real examples, right? So let's say in this case, we need to first of all understand what all assets a company has, right? Every company will have different assets. So for example, let's say I've taken employee email accounts, okay, email IDs of people. So what is the threat in this case? Social engineering. Definitely people can call, they can actually try to identify what are the email accounts. They can actually, search around different sites also. There are different social engineering methods out there. And because of that, because of lack of awareness also, maybe because of phishing attacks also, they can, get to know your email accounts and all. So lack of awareness may be a vulnerability. Because of this social engineering, you can actually employee email accounts are asset which are under type of a threat. Okay. So, what is the impact in this case? Five, because again, email IDs are important for an organization, and again, impact would be five, because for some organizations, email IDs are very critical. Okay, they never disclose them. So, in this case, let's say I have taken a risk score of 25. Okay, so this is my risk score, initial risk score. Okay, this has to be read because this is 25, right? So now risk owner is IT security manager, because he is now responsible for making sure that the data is safe. And again, employee email accounts also part of the data only, right? So IT security manager is there. Now risk statement is we choose risk reduction. Okay, we'll come to the risk statement side of things also, but firstly, I want you to understand till here. Okay, I don't want to go till that side of things. We'll go one by one. Okay, otherwise it will make everything messy. So I'll take another example. Okay, company servers and data threat may be ransomware and malware, could happen, right? Vulnerability could be inadequate backup and recovery process, right? Again, impact would be 4, because this could happen, and again likelihood could be high depending upon the industry, right? Because ransomware and malware are quite common these days. So again the risk score becomes 20, which is very high. Okay, so risk owner again here could be IT security manager, also IT head also, depending upon the area of concern, you can make the risk owner responsible. But are we good till this part? That is my main question. Are you all good till this part?
Can you explain that bit part again, please?
Sure, I'll take
So,
another example. Okay, cloud services. Okay, asset. You are basically outsourced cloud services. Threats could be hacking, external hacking, definitely possible. People can penetrate into cloud environments also. We all know that. Okay. Now, why would happen? Because of lack of vendor risk assessment or vendor due diligence, which would be happening, right? Because nowadays there are many third-party cloud providers which are outsourcing also, right? So your company might have chosen a wrong service provider. So in that case, again, impact would be high because this is your data which is hosted on the cloud. Likelihood would not be very high because hacking is not very common. It would be 3. So this would be 12. But again, this is not something that you need to consider immediately. What you need to consider immediately is the risk which is high. You need to be conscious here. Once you have dealt with these risks, then you need to come to this risk.
so if I may understand you, all you have to do to take your risk mapping and see where the impact is going to take effect more to judge your outcome, if I may be right.
Impact and likelihood both, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
So, Lo, I have one question.
Love shy this side.
Yeah, go for it.
Now, when we select impact, do we need to do a workshop or do the interview of the asset owner?
100%.
Then
100%.
only can be decided.
Yeah. That's why I discussed impact for initial half an hour, right? Because I wanted you to get that thought process. Without that, you can't simply select here 5 or 4, right? It won't make any sense.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I spent some time over there because normally, if you join any workshop, they directly start from this sheet. That's why I never start from this sheet because you need to understand the fundamentals behind this sheet. What is actually the concrete material which is making up this sheet? That is the main essence, right?
I understand. So, making any impact numbering, we need to interview the owner of the business
Yes,
and
you
then
need
we
to
can
interview.
propose.
Yeah, very good. You need to interview the risk owner. You need to interview the asset owner and understand their both. Understanding whether both of them are happy with your rating or not, and then you need to get verified with the CISO. This is an actual process which happens.
I understand.
Yeah.
Understood.
So
So, we
just
will
one.
take the monetary value here itself while going to the impact.
No, not in all cases. There will be some cases which we'll discuss in the last 2 classes when we'll discuss about interview questions. There, I'll tell you what are those cases. Not
Okay.
all cases. 90% of
Not.
the organizations only go for this type of ratings.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Love, I
Yeah.
think Mr. Shad said something that you need to interview the business owner or the person in charge of it. What about the person in charge of it has nothing or no knowledge about what you are doing? That's why they brought you in to analyze this and assess it and give them the outcome. How are you going to figure that one out without no documents or nothing to show that this has been going on? Or how are you going to get your head on to know that, yes?
Very good question, Matthew. And it happens. You are right. Okay. Somebody new is appointed, they don't have an idea. So, in that case, 2 options are there. Either you get hold of somebody senior in that department who might have an idea of that thing because definitely somebody would know, right? In that case, you interview that person, or if not, then you understand what type of data is there in that particular application or whatever is being hosted, and what will happen if the data is not available tomorrow. You need to think in that perspective then.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Good. So are we good till here? So then now I'll break you into breakout rooms. Okay. 4 registers I want. Room 1 will be TechWave. Room 2 will be NextGen. Room 3 will be Medline. And room 4 will be MCAS. And along with the impact assessment rating also and probability rating also. First mention clearly, like I did, and then you need to identify what all assets. Only 5 assets I want, not more assets, and accordingly the threats, vulnerabilities, and the risk score. That's it. Okay. So I'm breaking out you into rooms now. Get ready, and I'll give you 1 hour because this is very important exercise. I want you to spend time here.
Love, I have joined late. Uh, I'm sorry. My apology.
No worries, Sarita. Your team will help you. That's why I'm breaking you out into teams, right?